Hello, everybody. We're going to get the show started. Welcome to the first annual TCNewTech University Idea Showcase. I'm Jennifer Zunko. I'm the executive director of TCNewTech, and I am so happy that you're here. Really appreciate all the students that have traveled so far and the faculty from the universities, our judges, and just really appreciate the support that your being here offers to these student entrepreneurs. So TCNewTech's mission is to support and promote a community of tech enthusiasts, businesses, entrepreneurs, and Michigan policymakers. We're building a culture of innovation, economic growth, and opportunity right here in Northwest Michigan. We have 8 students representing 6 universities that will be presenting tonight. And we hope that while they're here, they get a little taste of the environment we have for entrepreneurs and startups and all that that is here for them in case someday they decide to move their business here, right? I want to thank all the sponsors, the TCNewTech board for sharing in our vision, event co-chairs, Julie Messing, raise your hand, Jay Meldrum, Willard Kitchen, and Steve Rice, and all the volunteers helping out tonight. I especially want to thank all of you for being here. So next, I'm going to invite to the stage Kelly Ignis. She is TCNewTech's board president. She has some opening remarks.
A little shorter here. On behalf of the board of directors at TCNewTech, welcome to Traverse City and welcome to the University Idea Showcase. Thank you for making the trek to participate. We're excited and looking forward to your pitches. With that, we honor your entrepreneurial and academic efforts and wish you continued inspiration and success. Oh, and I'd like to hand the program over to our MC, Sarah Hunt.
Thank you, Kelly. So tonight's event is modeled after our TCNewTech monthly pitch event. But the only difference today is that we're going to have a panel of judges here that will help you, that will in the front row, that will be deciding. Will you stand and wave at the audience as I introduce you? Eric Engel, VP of Production Management of Hagerty. Chuck Meek, Managing Director of Solve PFAS. Corey Hart, Chapter Director of Startup Grind Grand Rapids. Corey Elkins, Founder and Business Development Director of Dualboot Partners. Dave McBride, founder of McBride Remodeling. MJ Cartwright, mentor and resident for Innovation Partnerships as a part of the Technology Transfer Talent Network for Michigan universities. Our agenda for tonight includes 5-minute pitches from 8 students. We do have a timekeeper and we will keep things moving. After each pitch, the judges will have 5 minutes for Q&A. The judges will score the teams based on their business models, customer validation, and execution and design. After everyone has pitched, we will take a short intermission and allow the judges to determine the winners. And you will all have time for networking and drinks to make new friends and talk with old friends. After judging is complete, the audience will have a chance to vote for your favorite by using our texting vote program. We will explain that later. So tonight's event is a part of Northern Michigan Startup Week, which is a celebration of entrepreneurship, innovation, in our growing community here in Traverse City. We have an event happening all week that is providing opportunities for learning, building new connections, and helping your business and your career. All the events are open to the public. This week's events are true community initiatives organized by the collaboration of TCNewTech, 20 Fathoms, Northern Michigan Angels, and Newton's Road. The lead sponsors and partners for the Northern Michigan Startup Week are Haggerty, Boomerang Catapult, Northern Michigan College, and Michigan's Economic Development Corporation. So we want to thank and acknowledge tonight's main sponsors, Dualboot Partners, Michigan Tech University School of Business, and Michigan Tech Grand Traverse Area Lab, Pronoia Capital, and TC Tourism. So we also want to give a big thanks to Jay Meldrum from Michigan Tech University for designing and creating the beautiful trophies. And so let's get this contest started. So please help me welcome Matt Baker of Bamboo, presenting Grand Traverse State University. Matt, remember you have 5 minutes to present, and then followed by Q&A. So you come take the stage. And when your 5 minutes are up, we're going to give you a big round of applause.
All right, cool.
All right, you can go there so far.
I can go here, right? Okay.
And you see the
I can see the timer.
but
It's on 30 seconds.
30 seconds. It should be 5 minutes.
Man, that'd be terrible, wouldn't it? No, it's... There we go.
Good.
Okay, cool. So whenever I'm... Okay. So I want you to raise your hands if you sing or play a musical instrument. All right, you can put your hands down. Now raise your hands if you listen to music at least once a day. Oh, there are the hands. You can put them down. You see, I've talked with both musicians and listeners, and both have a common struggle. Musicians have a hard time finding new listeners, and listeners have a hard time finding new music. The ability for an independent artist to share their own music has never been easier, but over 90% of artists are undiscovered, with many of them unable to gain any traction. Though there are many avenues for musicians to spread their own music, the majority of it is drowning in other media content. This is Jonathan. We used to go to the same high school together. Every year, he had a solo part in every choir performance, which led him to release his own music onto Spotify. He goes to Western Michigan University to further pursue his career in music. But right now, he's just a front desk clerk trying to pay the bills. You see, he doesn't have enough monthly listeners to support him in his passion. I want you to remember this guy. We took a look at the musician. Now let's look at the listener. There are many ways for listeners to find new music, but many are craving for more, since studies have shown that music can make a positive impact in our everyday lives. I struggle to find new music all the time. You know, I love listening to 80s songs like Rocket Man by Elton John, but I also like listening to newer music like Cold Heart by Dua Lipa featuring Elton John. I spend a good hour every day just trying to find new music, even with this wide range of taste. I thought there had to be a better way. So one day, I decided to take a closer look as to how I found new music. 1 hour later, I noticed a pattern. You see, every time I tried to find new music, I'd only listen to the first 15 seconds of a song. 15 seconds. It's a hit. Or 15 seconds, it's a flop. What if musicians were able to preview the best part of their music for those 15 seconds? Hello, my name is Matt Baker, and my new app, Bamboo, revolutionized the way we find new music. This app will provide musicians another avenue to increase awareness for their music, and listeners have a fun, unique way to discover. So how does it work? A musician will have a 15-second clip of their music, just like this one. A listener then could quickly and efficiently filter through many songs until they find that favorite ear candy flavor. Once they find the song that they like, they'll be able to add the song to their preferred streaming service, then continue on their search. It's that simple. Our target market is 80 million Gen Z listeners, and the 1.2 million musicians that we know of. You see, we want to help the musicians by getting off the floor and up on the next level. We want to provide a way for them to make a sustainable career in their everyday passion. But we also want to help the listener by finding new music, just throwing the frustration of searching out of the window and having music-filled fun. We are in a niche market, so there aren't many direct competitors, There is an oligarchy of apps that do have a dominant hand in the music industry. However, none of these apps have the features that Bambo will have, including geolocation, where listeners can locate local artists within their community, music and video posts featuring music-only content, and that valuable 15-second preview. Our revenue model will have 4 sources of revenue, including ads, in-app purchases, affiliated marketing, and subscription premiums. I'm the only one doing this app. However, I am reaching out and seeing if I could find a technical or marketing co-founder to join the team. Our advisors is Dan Dreer, who is the CEO of Bop Drop, which is a music sharing app for friends, and Theory One Productions, who are music industry based, and they are just super heavy into it. They are deeply involved in the music industry. Before coming here, I've won some local pitch competitions, which I've used that money to invest into user interface interviews, asking musicians and listeners what they expect to see in the app. When not doing that, I am slowly coding the app, which will eventually be done pretty soon. So what are you waiting for? Use Bambo to help you find the newest hits for your music playlist. I know. Question, judges.
So since you're working with a two-sided marketplace, I'm just wondering what your experience is with your interviews. Which is the hardest side to get on board?
The hardest side to get on board is actually the musician. Listeners are pretty easy and open about exploring new ways to find music, whereas musicians, they are more of a closed gated community, so it's definitely much harder to reach out to them. But I have friends like Jonathan that have their group of friends that are musicians that I will hopefully make connections with them and have them become testers of the app.
Good job, Matt.
Thank you.
My question is around how are you selecting the 15 seconds? Is that sort of on the artist to make the decision, or is something being done in the app to find the hook, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, so we will have the artists be the ones to pick the 15 seconds. And the reason that is we want them to express what they want. We want them to express themselves. Not only does our app want to connect listeners to music, but we also want to connect listeners to musicians. We want to use listeners to help push up musicians to that sustainable career in their music. So.
Really interesting. It's way above my head. But
you know what? If you want, well, while you ask your question, let's see if I can go to the next one. I do have a video which I can play for you real quick on how it actually works. But you can ask your question while this goes
the
through.
question was on barriers to entry for the competition. You said there's an oligarchy of these in the industry already. Are there any barriers to keep them out of your space, or does it matter?
You know, it doesn't really matter. Another question, like another way I kind of understood this question was like what's stopping Spotify from taking my app or my idea? And the best way I can answer that is just because Burger King, and Wendy's and Arby's, they look at McDonald's and like, oh, we can't make the cheeseburger because McDonald's already took it. So that's the best way I can explain that question.
Yeah, quick question on the revenue side of things.
Yes.
All right. So you are going to have ads as well. Have you kind of worked through how the local ads are? I'm assuming they're going to be local because you do have local artists. Have you thought through that model, and have you test driven any of that?
We have not tested any of the local ads. However, I do want to make it as user friendly as possible. We do like the subscription premiums that will offer listeners to stream through music ad free for sure. But in your answer to the local ads, we're not quite there yet. So Yeah. Question at the end, maybe?
Yeah, two-sided marketplaces are notoriously hard for the reasons you've mentioned. Often they rely on almost a flywheel mechanism between consumers and inventory. Have you thought about what that level you need, either from an inventory standpoint or a consumer standpoint, to hit before you feel like you can push that flywheel fast enough to maintain your product?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So the best way I can answer that, we want to get, to start off for the beta version of our app, or the prototype, we want to have at least 500 listeners and at least 100 musicians. So a 1-to-5 ratio, if that answers your question. So and then, yes.
Yeah, related to that, so the go-to-market,
Yes.
are you starting in a specific location? Are you starting with a specific genre? You said that people listen to 5 genres on average. It seems to be like a lot to take on.
Yeah, so we actually want to start locally in Grand Rapids, which I represent Grand Valley State. And the reason we want to start with Grand Rapids is because Grand Rapids is actually pretty diverse with their music. And then I've been talking with the Michigan Music Alliance, Elle Lively, if you know her. And she is a real advocate for musicians to kind of like get started. So she's helping young musicians, new musicians in any way, any problem. She wants to help them get up. And we want to kind of piggyback on her in a way because, you know, not only are we helping her, but she's helping us. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you. You can take a seat. Thank you. Next, we're going to have on stage Bailey Golden from Safe Row representing Michigan Tech University.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire, messages that forge brighter connections, and emails that get the job done.
Almost there.
Hello, my name is Bailey Golden, and today I'm here to talk to you about Safe Row. In November of 2007, a little girl in Stella, Missouri went missing. Her name was Rowan Ford. She was my best friend, and she never made it home. Since then, I've had a vested interest in children's safety. That's why I founded Safe Row. One child goes missing every 40 seconds in the United States. That's an astonishing amount when we tie it to our everyday lives. For example, 200 children will go missing while we're sitting here today. Missing children's posters are everywhere. In fact, you cannot go to your local Walmart without seeing a bulletin board littered with faces of missing children. Can anyone in the room remember a single face from those posters? The answer is probably not. And the reason why is because it has become such a pervasive and systemic problem that we're almost desensitized to it. So imagine a world where that risk is minimized and that threat is targeted. Imagine a world where a mother does not have to have her stomach or her heart drop into her stomach the moment her child goes around the aisle at the grocery store. Imagine a world where a father does not have to become riddled with anxiety the moment he loses sight of his child at an amusement park. Now imagine a world where that is all immediate and in your hand. That is a world with Safe Row in it. So what is Safe Row? Safe Row is a wearable GPS bracelet accessory worn on the wrist of children. It is composed of 3 intermeshed layers, all with the tensile strength of at or above the level of steel. The device cannot be removed without our pairing software, without something akin to a power tool. It has an interlocking mechanism that also functions as the sizing mechanism. We can go all the way down to newborn and all the way up to about an inch above the average adult wrist size. It has a waterproof, customizable outer layer that allows stylization, but also helps us to reach children with sensory issues. Bottom line, Safro is the innovative, modern solution to child safety. We've done the work. We've done not one, not two, but 3 in-person rounds of customer interviews, one of which we actually walked them through our MVP of both the device and the software and allowed them to make comments on them. They had an overwhelmingly positive response, with 90% saying they would purchase the device at our price point if it was on the market tomorrow. So let's talk about our overall market. There are 63.1 million parents in the United States. Of that 63.1 million, about 48 million of them have children aged 0 to 12, and that is our target market. So talking about how that translates into dollar signs. If we were to capture at that 2% at a cost per unit of $50.49, a sale price of $125, and a subscription model of $4.99 a month, conservatively getting 2% of that entire market in the first year is $53.4 million. And then scaling up 3, 5, and 7 respectively. Bottom line, this is scalable, it's profitable, and it is fulfilling the customer need. Safro will use a single segment targeted marketing approach to target major metropolitan areas in quick succession. This will allow us to control our sales without losing momentum. Safro will start with an e-commerce model, distribution primarily through our website, with the goal to move direct to consumer. Safro versus the competition. We are outdoing our competitors in every area that our customers voiced as a key problem. But the bottom line is we're different because we take security seriously. There's currently no product on the market that is specifically targeting this issue with the level of security that we will offer. At this time, I'd like to ask the judges to reach forward and grab the card in front of you. It's a Michigan Tech card. On that card is the name of a child that has gone missing in Michigan from 2021 until now. Safro is here to be the bridge between the gap of that could never happen to me, and I can't believe this happened. And the problem is that in our society, we think that gap is this big, but it's actually this big. It's 40 seconds. So join me at Safro to modernize the way that we think about child safety, because at Safro, we believe one child missing is one too many. Thank you.
Nice presentation. Thank you. Do you talk to parents when you were doing the discovery?
Yes, I did. And I
Yeah.
also talked to daycare providers and
Okay.
people even without children.
Okay, great. Will the kids wear it? Have you gone down that path?
Absolutely. And a really interesting thing came out of that. I thought that customization was going to be really high on parents' lists, but it was actually comfort because of that specific issue. So that's why the customization is actually up to the wearer. We're going to offer different materials and things so that the child can actually choose what's comfortable for them.
Nice, thank you.
That was very well done. You have a very emotional, visceral problem that you're solving. I'm a father of 3 boys. They're all raised and grown now, but every one of them gave me that pit in the stomach feel at some point in their young lives. So this is a very compelling business model that you have with a very compelling problem to solve. It's almost so huge in terms of the market, the total available market, that it's kind of hard to believe some of the numbers, right? I'm not questioning your data. I'm saying that, you know, even with a minimum market share, you're talking $50-some million in revenues right out of the gate. Let's say that's valid, that's true. How do you manage galactic interstellar growth rates like that? Is this really that scalable, that accurately?
Yes, it is. By targeting these cities in succession, that is going to actually allow us to be in control of our growth. So we can scale back if we need to, and we can become more aggressive with our marketing strategy. However, no, that's it.
2 questions. If I bought one of these products, is that for the life of the child?
So the sizing mechanism grows with the child.
Okay. And number 2, the monthly fee that I pay, does that send the data to a central processing unit or something, or to the police, so that if this child is lost, I'm not chasing it around with my cell phone?
No, it will go directly to you. You can actually set up a geofence that will alert you that you're in charge of 50 or 100 feet. However, what you do with that information, that's when you can call the police. But that also allows you not to waste time when you're like, I don't want to be that person that calls the police and my kid's actually hiding in the grocery store. You can see where they're at and you can make that educated decision.
Thank you.
Really good pitch, first of all. Oh, very well done. 2 questions for you real quick. How do you plan on protecting your growth against competitors like Life 360?
So with our model and Life 360, that's where we're different. The security and the IP around that security where the device cannot be removed. Any of these devices, you can throw out the window. You can take off of the child very easily. So that's where we're different. Also, we're going to be the first to market on this. There's currently nothing that's being thought of like this. And so that's going to allow us to gain the trust of our consumers.
Okay, thank you. Other question I had is your margins were impressive, especially at $60 a year. My question is, what kind of costs are there to maintain the infrastructure required to ultimately aggregate and send that to the phone?
So that is something that I'm going to be working on this weekend to actually validate out the MVP and build a BOM and work on that infrastructure for the communication between the device and the actual software. So I don't have an answer for you yet, but I am actively working on that.
Yeah, we saw 5 or 6 different competitors, and I'm not sure of the space, but besides the first gap that you just described, what are other gaps that you're solving that other competitors aren't?
So one of those gaps is the customization. The customization also goes hand in hand with the comfort. We're actually leaving that up to the consumer. We're giving them options. So we're not saying we studied this and this works for the many, so we don't care about the few. We're being very inclusive of our consumers and allowing them to have that for themselves. And then also the size inclusivity. You don't have to go buy a different band as your child's growing. This will grow with your child, and that's currently not being offered either.
So, okay, real quick, I was just going to ask, so in the event that it is forcibly removed or cut or something like that, is there sort of like a fire sale mechanism that would actually kind of go beyond just the initial message or whatever the information is to the parent?
So that's something that's currently in development. It would work similarly with the technology that we use for parolees. So if they tamper with the device, it actually sends a notification. Yeah.
Great job, Bailey. Good job, Bailey. So next we have a virtual remote pitch. We're going to welcome Brandon Wang of CapNos, and Brandon is representing Michigan State University. Are you out there, Brandon?
First, we're going to play. We've recorded his presentation.
Okay.
Hi, folks of Traverse City. My name is Brendan Wong. I'm the founder and CEO of CapNos on a mission to prevent lung diseases and save lives. I was 14 years old when I picked up my first vape. I was soon addicted for over 5 years. As a sophomore in college, I saw my friends struggling to quit, and I wondered why it's such a persisting issue. I've surveyed thousands of people to get to the root cause. I've learned that the majority of people are trying to quit an oral fixation with a vaping cessation market valued at $19 billion. We're focused on vaping right now, but we're intending on addressing a global tobacco cessation market valued at over $64 billion. But the issue is there just isn't anyone out there addressing this from a behavioral standpoint. What starts as a nicotine craving evolves as that tolerance builds up. And so what we're doing is we're shifting the routine to one that is clean and refreshing for that hand-to-mouth gesture using the CapNos Zero. We've already helped thousands of our customers go weeks and months without relapsing. It works like this. With each hit, our valve pops open to create a deep hit of air that feels like vaping, but with zero smoke, zero nicotine, and zero charge. It's just pressurized air, and it's stupid simple. The Zero is patent pending, can be used by anybody, anytime, anywhere, and currently has no federal regulations, but we intend on continuing research so we can someday achieve FDA clearance to become a recognized cessation product. We use flavorings from essential oils that are deemed safe for general use by the FDA as well. Current products out there focus only on the nicotine. We have a device that satisfies the auditory, tactile, and throat hit cravings that people are looking for in a way that's affordable and highly accessible. We have 3 primary customer personas. I myself identify most with bad habitabilities, in which vaping is a social issue. The thing is, quitting is a lifelong journey, and we see an evolution into customers becoming stressed out Sams with greater disposable income and a greater desire to quit that actually make up the bulk of our customers. In reaching everyone, we're building an ecosystem that helps people better understand their habits and identify solutions to overcome those through education. With our business model, we sell our starter packs for $25, and each base lasts forever. Each cap is replaceable, which lasts 2 to 4 weeks of flavor freshness with flavors like mint, orange, and lavender. We anticipate a lifetime value of customers to be about $51, and we've been able to acquire customers for only 6 cents. But as we're going through fundraising, we intend on seeing a ceiling of about $6 to acquire customers. We've been focusing exclusively on e-commerce, selling through our website and Amazon, where we became the #1 search for product under quit vaping after the first week of listing it. In the first few months of launch, we've been able to achieve over 6 figures in sales revenue completely through organic and direct search with less than a $9,000 ad spend. Customers are already looking for us because lung health and mental health are all the important, especially right now. We've partnered with the Quit Vaping app used by over 500,000 people. We've had a Quit program coordinator of Wellness Aid Services in Flint, Michigan, who purchased Capno Zeros in wholesale with state-approved funding to help their clients quit. We also intend on building partnerships with health insurance providers to help bring Capnos out to millions of people at a nationwide and global scale. We've seen great success through social media and through word of mouth, as vaping and smoking is inherently a social activity, and we're continuing to build the community so people have greater awareness. Within our team, we have a group of people who are so passionate about the work we do, with Alec being willing to give up a 6-figure job with paid housing, car, and medical benefits to join Capnos full-time. Ava was also one of our first 10 customers and has been able to go 5 months without relapsing and is now joining us as a social media intern. Additionally, we have a board of advisors who are experts in behavioral health as well as medical device executives, so that way we can go toward a cleaner future. Smoking still kills 8 million people per year. To help, we're creating a community with education, digital platforms, tangible tools, and multifaceted solutions to help people take control of their addictions globally. We're currently fundraising, raising $1 million at $10 million valuation, so please reach out if you're interested in joining our round. We're here preventing lung diseases and saving lives. So what do you say? Will you join us to put a cap on vaping? Thank you.
So Brendan couldn't be here because of health reasons this week and being at a graduation last weekend. So we are going to try something new. We've never done this before, so stay with us. We're going to try to bring him on the big screen.
Here comes the rescue. We've got Brandon. Do we have audio?
How am I doing?
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, everyone. Hey, wish I could be there with you all.
Brandon, we're going to have some questions from our judges here. Let's see if you can hear their questions. Starting now, you have 5 minutes to answer their questions.
Hi, I'm curious if you can explain why the lifetime value is only $51. It seems like that's a little low. This is from both of the quarries here.
Sure. So right now, what we've been seeing is actually a 6 to 10% returning customer rate. And beyond that, we're seeing most people purchasing one starter pack to go. The thing is, I built the Capno Zero to last. I want this to be something that's affordable and accessible for people to be able to have better access to better care. And so what we've been seeing is that people are returning, purchasing 1 mint, orange, and even our new lavender cat packs. And we're actually seeing that number to raise in 3 years here as we go into more tech developments, because what we're doing is integrating more tech-enabled solutions, so that way we can have recurring revenues through people using an app that better connects people within accountability measures, as well as getting access to professionals too. And for the judges, would you be able to introduce yourselves? Because I can't see who I'm speaking to, so I'd love to know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. This is MJ Cartwright. Nice presentation, Brendan. And my question is actually almost the opposite of what the Corys had. At some point, once you have vape cessation, so you're not vaping anymore, do you still need your product? I mean, at some point, does it drop off, or does this become the new addiction, even though it doesn't have nicotine?
We're strongly urging for people who don't have the oral fixation or vaping or smoking craving already to not buy the Zero. The thing is, I spent 2 years in product development and purposely got myself addicted to vaping again before putting the Zero out to market, just to know for sure that it can really help those cravings. And our customers hundreds of people are writing letters, sharing DMs, sharing stories of how they've been able to start their quitting journey using Capno Zero after having gone decades and many years smoking cigarettes and vaping, and finally being able to make the switch to something with no smoke, with no nicotine. Eventually, the goal is to see people eventually get off the Zero. That's the goal. We want people to take control of their addictions, and that's ultimately where we find the greatest joy.
Okay, thank you.
Brendan, very nice job. This is Chuck Meek. The LTV number of $51, is that calculated by gross revenues, or is that the profit margin that you make from each customer over the lifetime?
So these are gross revenues, and right now we are seeing about 60 to 70% margins just through e-commerce for our SKUs.
All right, and then there's a drop off in the use from the customer, so I understand why there's a finite LTV. You in your words, it's stupid simple, which is great. It's a two-edged sword. Is there a way? Well, let me ask it this way: how much are you focusing on your collaborations with the smoking cessation institutions out there, whether they're social enterprises, et cetera, to use your product in their cessation program? And is that a growth runway for you?
So we're having people reach out to us, and that's particular with this quit program. And now currently quit specialists and tobacco specialists across the state of Michigan are aware of Capnos. We've received state level funding. And from a partnership and organization standpoint, I've already met with both the co-founders of Parents Against E-Cigarettes and have gotten their advocacy for what we're doing. So now we're just finding ways to get further involved within our communities. I've already spoken to school administrators, people who organize tobacco cessation programs within regional levels, and have gained their advocacy as well, because what we have is a solution that hasn't really existed before, but we've seen efficacy rates of about 80%. 80%. I mean, we're seeing nicotine replacement therapies at only 6%. So right now we have something that, even though from an LTV standpoint, despite some concerns around that, the goal is to still help people effectively achieve their goal with quitting.
We've got 30 seconds for one more question.
Yeah, Brendan, David McBride here. So the question is, how do you distribute this, get it to your customer, and where do you manufacture this product?
We manufacture in Southern China, and we have it within our own shipping methods, as well as through Amazon's FBA. So we can be purchased through Amazon, and we're also now partnering with a 3PL as we continue to scale our operations up.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Brandon. We hope you feel better. Good luck tonight. Next, we will wait till we adjourn. There we go. We got Seth Byrne and Matt Looks from Sports Watch, representing Western Michigan University.
How's it going, Traverse City? So I'd like to introduce you all to SportWatch. Oh, there's a slide. My name is Matt Laux, and today I'm joined here by Seth Byrne. I am a major in computer science, and Seth is studying biochemistry at Western Michigan. We are both former track athletes, and we're both passionate technologists. So let me introduce you all to the problem a little bit. So if you go to a track or a cross-country practice today, you'll see a very old and outdated and inefficient practice. You'll see coaches with a stopwatch and a clipboard sitting at the finish line, hitting the stopwatch, writing down the time, and then the athletes don't know how they're doing. It's a huge time investment, it's tedious, and the data is very disconnected. It's incredibly outdated. So what's the solution to this? Oh, SportWatch. So the convenient, flexible, insightful, and powerful solution to this problem. So we take everything that you have with a stopwatch and a clipboard and put it into the convenience of a smartphone. So here we have a little demonstration of how this works. It's incredibly simple, incredibly intuitive. You just choose the event that the athletes are running in. As the athletes cross the finish line, you tap their name, it records it, synchronizes it across the entire team, and everyone knows how they're doing. They get a personalized graph of their progress. And this is leaps and bounds ahead of writing down the time and then forgetting it inevitably. And so with that, I'd like to hand it off to Seth, who will talk a little bit more about the business. Seth.
Thanks, Matt. So as former track and cross-country athletes, Matt and I have focused our initial rollout on track and cross-country coaches. As of 2018, there are nearly 24,000 public high schools in the U.S. with over 1 million runners in their respective sports. Additionally, the average age of coaches for these sports is around early to mid-30s, and these individuals have grown up with technology in and throughout their life, so they are very privy and aware of the benefits that our app brings to their sport. Given the size of the target market, it's not surprising that there are other competitors in our space. Strava, for example, is a really popular app, but it's only for individuals and it doesn't offer coaches the capabilities needed to manage their team. Athletic.net is focused on the team structure, but it emphasizes competition-based data only. It doesn't focus on practice where teams, the practice during the times that teams use to grow and prepare for the competition. SportWatch bridges both of these gaps by offering a team structure as well as the ability and focus on practice-based data. We did base our business model on these two competitors, which is an annual membership model. We're priced competitively at $40 a year for the entire team. Go a little bit more into our financials. Our expenses stem from app and website infrastructure, which totals around $275 and $300 a year. Our revenue, as I mentioned, is $40 a year per coach, per team. That covers the cost for both the coach and the athletes. And so with that, I'll hand it back over to Matt to talk about some of our progress.
Thank you, Seth. So just a quick rundown of what we've done so far. So after the past couple of years, we formed an LLC. We worked with a couple of local track and cross-country coaches, getting their feedback and developing the app. So the app is actually out on both iOS and Android right now. We launched a website for it, so a landing page so coaches can check it out and download it if they're interested. We began an email marketing campaign, and recently we've been attending events, wonderful events like this. Thanks to the SBDC as well as another business accelerator program. And moving forward, we intend to increase the number of coaches who are using SportWatch to get the word out about it. And that's pretty much our biggest plan moving forward.
And so to kind of summarize SportWatch in a concise description, we're an app designed for track and cross-country coaches to enable them to elevate their team and their performance. Our mission brings simple and accessible tools to high school athletics with data-driven data performance analytics. We strive to show teams where they've been, where they are now, and the potential that lies ahead. Thank you.
Very nicely done. In my experience, when I take a product to market, and I've in this scenario for me has been established companies, not a startup like yours. So my hat's off to you in doing this. But when you price your product to market, you had a features and benefits chart that showed all green lights for you, exclusively all across the board, better than your competition, and yet your 20, 35% lower on that, on the price. Do you have any concerns about leaving money on the table? If you have a better product, a better mousetrap, and yet you're priced significantly lower, why do you feel the need to do that? Can't you justify the better mousetrap or the better mousetrap price?
Yeah, I suppose this is a bit of an open-ended question. So Seth and I, we decided we should charge something a little bit lower. That way people feel more inclined. It's not as big of a buy-in, especially for coaches who haven't really heard about it before. They can comfortably sign up doing that, but we just settled on 40.
I'll just play devil's advocate for that, in that once you establish a price, it's easy to lower it, but it's really hard to raise it. So the other side of that you may want to consider is that, take it up to parity, bring it down if you need to. But just, I'm not trying to give you advice on how to run your business, believe me. But
I appreciate
that just caught my eye, that you have a better mousetrap and it's teams, et cetera, and you're significantly under market priced. And I want to make sure that you're not leaving money on the table with what is arguably a capped market.
No, that's really good feedback. I appreciate that.
Nice presentation. A couple of things. One, when you were doing the customer discovery, you were targeting the coaches. Are you targeting the educational system as the buyer?
Largely coaches. So this is one of the biggest problems we've really run into, is that we're both kind of tech guys. And so we sort of naively thought, like, we're just going to put this on the App Store and it'll just sell itself. But that's not the case, evidently. So
Funny
that's
how that works.
Yeah. We talked to a few coaches.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing we want moving. Oh, sorry.
Just to elaborate a little bit on that, we have reached out to athletic directors, and we have a couple of our mentors, as Matt mentioned, both through the Business Accelerator as well as the Small Business Development Center, have recommended reaching out to more of the administration side as opposed to the coach, just because a lot of times that's sort of where the money is at.
It's a different sales cycle. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job, guys. So my question was around kind of some functionality. If a coach is running multiple athletes simultaneously, is that built in yet? Is it in the roadmap? How does that work?
Yeah, so really good question. We do have support for both, like you said, just like if all the athletes were running like one event, but if like you said, more realistically, if a coach has multiple workouts running or multiple athletes, they can definitely do that. One thing that's maybe unique about ours as opposed to some of the other solutions is that the athletes can save times for each other. And so as a coach, if you wanted to split up, the 100-meter dashers and then focus on your efforts on like 400-meter, you could take times for the 400-meter and have one of the students help volunteer to time the 100. So you could have different groups throughout the track or the cross-country course, and at the end of the day, review the stats and see how the team did. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. And then so if you have six people running 100-meter, can you capture everybody, or is it kind of individual? Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Thanks.
Can you break those race times down into split times and all of that and analyze that data?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any problem with sharing that data throughout the team with privacy issues?
I mean, so sorry, can you like elaborate a little bit more on like the privacy of the athletes?
Well, I would think that, you don't want the whole world to know that Johnny's running.
Sorry to cut you off. It's just for the team. So everyone on the team sees all of the stats on one team. So it's not like
it's not global. It would just be the team. Okay. And probably there's a release form, they'd sign off and everything would be fine, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
With sports stuff, it's really great to track performance, but a lot of performance is not just physical, it's mental. Tagging along Corey's question on roadmap, is that anything in your future at all?
We have talked about adding like, how are you feeling? Maybe look at the weather, overcast moods and stuff. Definitely on the roadmap, but not fully explored yet.
Great job, guys. Moving along, we have Brandon Leon with Raptor Medical Solutions with Central Michigan University.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Leon, and I am the founder of Raptor Medical Solutions. And our goal is to bring a new generation of medical solutions to the market and helping patients with their recovery. So to get my story, I got to give you a little bit of background. So I'm currently a senior at Central Michigan University studying a double major in purchasing supply management and all my purchase supply management and logistics management. My entire life, I've been a lifelong athlete. See, my dream growing up was to play baseball at the highest level I possibly could. And I'm very blessed to say that in 2017, my senior year of high school, I was given the opportunity to play at Spring Arbor University. However, though, I have been no stranger to broken bones along the way. See, from 2012 to 2017, I had broken my right foot 5 times. 4 times playing baseball, 1 time being an unfortunate experience at a trampoline park. So every time I had one of these injuries, I was given a medical walking boot. And this boot had anywhere from 5 to 7 Velcro straps, was big, bulky, uncomfortable. It made it very difficult to find the proper fit that would last all day. That's essential when you're recovering. So I started asking myself, how can this be better? And what that has done is has led me to creating Raptor Medical Solutions. The image you were seeing right here is the Raptor post-op medical walking boot. This will be the industry's first medical walking boot that utilizes twist-style technology. This system is inspired by ratchet straps as well as performance sports equipment. We will also be introducing 2 other products that I'll talk about a little bit more later, being the medical walking shoe and the ankle brace. So how does this system work? Well, simply what you do is fold open the foot plate and the shin plate. Insert your foot, then reclose the shin plate and the foot plate. There is a network of wires that you can see right through here that attach to the hooks on the side. Once you do that, you simply twist the dial and that's it. We have completely eliminated the use of Velcro straps. So why is the system better, you might be asking? Well, think about the system, why we use the system in like heavy duty trucking or in performance sports. We value security. We value being secured to a platform. So I ask you, why should our medical solutions be any different? The answer is simple. They shouldn't. So let's talk about the market for a little bit. Doctors of podiatry see roughly 60 million patients per year. This is according to the Illinois Podiatric Medical Association. If we take just 4 categories alone, that being bone breaks, plantar fasciitis, acute ankle sprains, Achilles ruptures, we have over 4.6 million injuries year over year in the United States. Also worth noting, the global orthopedic device industry is set to be worth $47 billion by 2026, up $10 billion from from 2018. So how are we going to sell this product? Well, this isn't something you're necessarily going to Walmart or Target to get. So we're going to be selling directly to hospitals, medical conventions, medical specialty stores, places along those lines where it fits the narrative. We're also going to have 2 channels, medical and sport. So our medical channel consists of our boot as well as our medical shoe, Raptor shoe. And then we will have our sport channel. This is where we'll have the ankle brace. So this is going to be our mass commodity item where we're going to sell to retail chains like Target, Meijer, Walmart, places along those lines, and especially sporting goods stores. We're also going to have a very strong e-commerce presence that we want to push as well. So a couple competitors we have in the industry are DJO Global and Assure, both founded in the 1970s. There is a few more competitors, but whenever you search a medical boot online, these are the people you're going to see. So obviously a lot of products, both founded in the 1970s, both have good retail presence, and both have been doing very well financially. So moving to our finances. So I want to make this very clear. I'm in the very beginning stages of where I'm at right now. We have currently a prototype, but we're currently developing the dial system to fit exactly how it works on a medical boot. So, and cost to produce, still working to figure that out. But what I do believe to be very, very accurate is our units sold, which you can see at the very bottom down here. So that is where we're going to be accurate. In our first year, we expect to do 8,500 units, and then a 2.5x growth year over year for the first 2 years. We will reassess when we get a little bit closer to that time period. Raptor Medical Solutions, like I said, is right now in its birth stage. But as of right now today, I have filed for a provisional patent. My goal today is to be able to find people who can help mentor, develop, and raise capital to creating the next big thing in the medical orthopedic industry. Thank you for your time.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Have you talked to some of the players in this space, and what is on their product roadmaps for potential licensing avenue at all? I mean, because you can go different ways with this, and
Yeah,
startup
absolutely.
is one.
Yeah. So they're, like I said, birthing stage right now. But there is a ton of ways we can go because we can either look into doing so, like I said, performance sports equipment like snowboarding, skiing boots, places like these amenities, these I guess products, they have similar systems. Maybe some people are familiar with BOA. It's a company, they make performance gear, hiking boots, running shoes, things like that. They utilize a very similar technology. However, ours has to be medical, or it has to be different because when it's a medical boot, you can't just simply put your foot in like a shoe. It has to be able to fold completely open. With BOA and like those companies, it's like shoelaces. You just slide your foot in, you can tort your foot. You can't be able to do that. But there is a lot of options on the table in terms of if we do a joint venture or other things like with other company like that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Do you need to be launching with 3 different products at one time? Can you just start with one?
Yes. So actually, we are starting with just one right now. So the medical boot, that is what I'm expecting to be in 2023 Q4 is where I'm planning to be. 2024, 2025 is when a full product line of 3 products is where I'm aiming for.
I think you mentioned patents pending.
I have filed for a provisional patent.
Okay. And what is that around? Is it around the?
That's around the use, so the dial in this industry.
So in terms of not being able to use BOA, you're trying to develop something that'd be more secure and stable for the boot.
Yeah, so that's the goal. I would like to do everything on my own in terms of in terms of Raptor Medical Solutions instead of teaming up with like BOA or a company like that.
Assuming you went on your own, are there any compliance challenges you've been researching or any liability concerns?
Can you elaborate a little bit in terms of like if someone got injured using the boot or?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like a whole legal we have to go through all that stuff. So that's gonna be like hiring people who are professional in that in terms of help out. Obviously, I got like a purchasing supply chain background, logistics. That's kind of what my realm is. And I've been doing this all on my own. It's been something that's been in my head for about 3 years. And especially after being being a senior and, having my 3rd surgery back in March, it's like, what, this is something I believe in and, want to go from there. But to answer your question in terms of like legal, there is things obviously that, are a little bit beyond my scope. I would say that I need to communicate with people. I need to talk with people. I need to learn more on that.
Are there any FDA compliance aspects to these medical
Yes,
devices?
there is. You have to go through FDA compliance. And also, one other thing I would like to say is just because the goal is for this product to come out in a time. Because when you're talking about medical, you can't just bring it to market right now. You have to go through testing. You have to go through all these things. I'm very blessed because I've had all these experiences. In August will be my 10-year anniversary of work with my surgeon. So once we get a little more functionality, it's just constructing the dial. We just got to get the engineering behind it, understand exactly how this works, then we go right there. And I mean, I can't say that I'm going to get into those hospital chains, but I can say that this is a product I believe in. I've worked with it for 10 years. I'm a very strong advocate for, people who have gone through things like this. So there's definitely a lot of options, to go with that.
Is this a prescribed product or over the counter?
So you'll probably get this through your insurance. So the thing is, I want to be as lean as possible. That's why there's 2 channels. So when we're going for a medical boot, that's not something we're necessarily going to sell to the public, at least as of right now. Like you can go through DJO or, and get like I think they even call them I don't know if they're called post-op boots, but they're like $60 to $70 boots. We plan to be a little bit more on the premium side. That's the goal because my issue is that these boots have been just bad. I have not enjoyed them. Yeah. And it's a boot. Like you're recovering. Like it's gonna suck no matter how good you make it, right? But it's the point of giving it the most functionality possible that's gonna make the experience as good as possible for you. I mean, it was my right foot. I drove all the time. So then you have to go through 5 to 7 Velcro straps. And if you're older, if you're elderly, you have 3 points contact. So the wire just comes up, attach, twist, 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 twist. So It sounds simple. It sounds, like something like why hasn't this been made yet? And that's something I've been questioning a lot.
So there are, as I understand it, 2 channels to market. There's the health system
Yes.
as medical device. That you can also pick one up if you want, just at your local snowboard shop. If you want.
That's time.
Thank
Yes
you.
or no?
So yes, your answer is correct.
Great job. Thank you. Next, we have Rourke Sylvan with I'm
IMI. Representing Michigan Tech University.
Hello, my name is Rourke, and I'm here to talk about the future of healthcare. But first, let me talk about Martha. Martha's a middle-aged woman. Her life's pretty normal, but she was recently diagnosed with hypothyroidism. For those of you who don't know, it's an incurable disorder where the thyroid is effectively not producing enough T4 or thyroid hormone. Symptoms range from mild to severe, but include excessive tiredness, muscle weakness, depression, and in children, poor growth. The medication she was prescribed can help, but the thyroid functions differently between individuals, and dosing needs to be personalized to each patient. So she has to frequently schedule doctor's appointments to have her blood tested. The current standard for blood tests is in a clinical laboratory. But the blood tests are expensive, and they also only show a timestamp of that hormone concentration level in the blood. So to better understand the problem, we need to understand how the thyroid functions. This graph is representing the variation in concentration levels in your blood throughout the day. As your thyroid is active, it's producing T4, this hormone, increasing that concentration level. It turns off at a certain point. Your body metabolizes this hormone, decreasing the concentration. So it has this cyclic pattern throughout the day. Now, Martha, who has hypothyroidism, might hypothetically be prescribed a dose that's too low. But if she goes in and tests at hour 10 here, the lab results will show she's within this healthy range. Conversely, if she's prescribed a dose that's too high, but she goes in a test between 5 or 6 here, once again, the lab results show she's in a healthy range, and the doctor might think these dosage are sufficient, but in reality, half the day she's outside the healthy range, and that's going to lead to metabolic side effects. So she needs to frequently schedule doctor's appointments to have her blood tested. But in reality, as we all know, this can be agitating, if not downright infeasible. So she may go months without testing, which could lead to thyroid instability and the emergence, once again, of her symptoms. So to round out her story, it's taken Martha 12 months to go from symptom onset to symptom relief. That's 12 months of scheduling doctor's appointments, having her blood tested, waiting for the results, changing her dosage, and repeating this process over and over and over again. So she's not the only one that has to endure this process. Every year, more than 5 million people are diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and millions more go undiagnosed because the blood tests are too expensive and too convenient to have done. But today we bring you the solution. This is IMI's thyroid medical device. So with a small drop of blood, you can deliver it to the sensor, and it then can detect the level of T4 that's in your blood. This patentable technology captures the thyroid hormone onto the sensor, sends that information to this display monitor, and then this information is digitized and then transmitted to an app in your phone. This information can then be directly sent to your doctor or your endocrinologist. So this instant knowledge transfer will save months of improper dosing and unnecessary stress, as the patients will be able to personalize their healthcare experience from the comfort of their homes. Moreover, proactive hormone monitoring will unlock hidden information that can prove valuable to the customer, to the doctor, and to research institutions. So IMI will manufacture the electrochemical sensors and develop the app that will interface with customers. We'll sell to both clinics and to households. Moreover, we'll have a subscription option where different subscription tiers provides a monthly based sensor supply. These sensors are one-time and cheap and disposable. Furthermore, higher subscription tiers will unlock more customer benefits, as allowing them to actually monetize on the data by selling it to research or private organizations. So currently there are no other point of care technology testing for thyroid hormones. Companies such as Everlywell provide commercial lab services, but the customer still needs to deposit a serum sample into a container, ship it to a lab, and wait for the results, which can usually take between 3 to 5 days, and the test can cost up to $100 for each test. So in conclusion, more than 5 million people every year are diagnosed with hypothyroidism. That's 5 million people that have to endure this slow and inefficient healthcare paradigm. So this point of care technology not only brings the lab to your fingertips, it will effectively save millions of years of suffering related to improper dosing, slow diagnosis, and inefficient monitoring. Thank you.
I love how you are targeting your market, very focused, not just because I'm an old lady, but yeah. And my question is around who's your team? Who are your advisors? And you get into this medical device space, there's a lot of know-how you need to leverage. And, you're dealing with, approval processes, making sure this truly works. But who are you working with and what's your game plan there?
Yeah, so I'm working with a couple of PIs at the university as well as MTech Smart Zone to kind of facilitate medical device experts that have been through the FDA process. We're going to kind of mimic the FDA trail that the glucose monitoring has done. It's a very similar device, same set of standards for testing the device as glucose monitoring. So that's what our current strategy for that.
Where are you on your on the roadmap for the product?
Yeah, so we're in prototype development right now. I'm building the chemical architecture that is patented or functionalized on the sensors, as well as developing the app. So that's where we're at right now.
You mentioned the glucose meters. Is this technology applicable to maladies other than hypothyroidism? Can you take the same technology and replicate it for a new market, for instance?
Yes, exactly. So prototype 1, the first development sensors are going to be for thyroid hormones, but effectively we'll be able to monitor and capture any molecular metric that's in the blood or in your saliva. And so eventually we'll be selling a variety of different sensors. You can be just purchasable through the app or online, and eventually want to get to the point where we might be able to detect circulating tumor cells, right, or other different metrics that can be tested and captured on these sensors. So this is just the first stage, and then as we get going, we're going to expand to any sensor that you wish to purchase to detect any molecular metric.
Have you established a focus group with doctors and individuals to see what the benefit of this would be? Or is this an idea that you just came up with and see that there might be a market for it?
Yeah, so the idea came to me, but I'm currently setting up conversations with people that have hypothyroidism, as well as endocrinologists, to see how can we develop the structure and the marketing and to target the correct people, and how we should sell this, whether it's to clinics or to the people generally. But
Well, thank you. I think you've got a wonderful idea, and it's going to go someplace. So thanks.
Yeah, great job. So my question, you touched on the possibility of users being able to monetize data. What would that look like? Are you would you be connecting potential buyers with users? Just maybe elaborate on that a little bit.
yeah, so because the only current way to test for these metrics are in the lab, and you might get a test only once a year, twice a year, but now with this tool you can test every day. So it's gonna unlock hidden information that could be sold to research or even private organizations, other biotech. So we would interface or act as a consultant. If the consumers wanted to monetize on their data, they could do it through us, and then we would take like a consultant fee or some sort of a gas fee.
What's your hypothesis on why this is primarily a lab-focused effort today?
Say that again.
What's your thoughts on why this is currently purely a lab service today?
Yeah, so the technology is coming to a point right now where it's transitioning. Everything has been tested, historically in a centralized laboratory, but with microfabrication techniques and the miniaturizing of like cheap and disposable chips, for example, it's now at a point where it's going to transition out of a lab and be able to be hosted in devices that fit in your hand or your pocket. So we're just at a transition point, right? And so I just want to
Thank you.
Next, we have Grace Pronoia with You'd Never Know. Grace is representing Northern Michigan University. And judges, if I can get your attention. Judges, you have a sample in front of you. Multiple samples.
So if you would dig in, I would love that. Sorry, nerves. Hi, I'm Grace Denoya, and I am the founder and head baker of You'd Never Know. Our mission is to create 100% dedicated gluten-free goods. And this has been a passion of mine for a long time. I've been baking since I was 3. I've been gluten-free for over 11 years and supremely disappointed with what has been on the market throughout those 11 years. So I was determined to keep plugging away and create something better than what was out there, and something so good that you would never know it's gluten-free. So the plan for my business would be to operate out of my residential kitchen for the first 2 years under cottage food laws, operating also at a booth at a local farmers market, and also doing online sales through my e-commerce website. And then the goal would be to scale to a brick and mortar shop in year 3. Beyond that, I would love to be able to eventually scale to regional, if not national. My current team is just me. I'm a one-woman show. But as I scale, I do plan on bringing on Chelsea for sales and marketing, Michael as my CFO, and Chelsea Ortiz for research and development, and to help me further expand my menu. Why is this a problem? So being gluten-free isn't fun, and most people don't willingly choose it. 1 in 133 Americans have celiac disease, and there's lots of other health issues that require people to eat a gluten-free diet. Additionally, despite those large numbers, there's a lack of access. There's what is on the market. It's better than nothing, but a lot of it's still not very good. And often we will settle for that not very good over nothing. And still paying a premium for it. So additionally, when companies and other organizations have to feed gluten-free people in addition to people who can eat whatever the heck they want, having to accommodate those people is annoying and expensive and cumbersome. So my solution to this is quite simple. Everything I make is gluten-free. It's going to be in a 100% dedicated facility. I will thoroughly vet my supply chain and make sure that there aren't any hidden sources of cross-contamination through my supply chain for my ingredients, and gluten just won't ever come into the building. As I previously said, 1 in 133 Americans has celiac disease. Harvard has looked into it and found that 1 to 3% of Americans has non-celiac gluten sensitivity. So overall, about 3.1 million people follow a gluten-free diet. Again, not by choice. Some people do choose it. Personally can't understand why, but there's a lot of people who need it. So that is the market. As I said, I do plan on having a booth at Locals Market during my cottage food years. Additionally, I plan on having a robust online presence through social media and my website, and generating word of mouth through the farmers market and hopefully customer recommendations. A little bit more on that market and the, this is just kind of what some of the projections look like from 2020 to 2027. The annual growth rate is projected to be 9.2%. There's a lot of the market to be captured. This is my projected revenue. It is based upon a 52-week year, planning for a little bit of vacation, and I just went too far. 2 weeks of vacation. It is based on a $3 customer unit cost, and it's projected a 20% growth rate between year 1 and 2, since I plan on scaling from year 2 to year 3 to a brick and mortar shop. Production will also scale, and then 20% growth is projected from there. My projected income statement, which accounts for all of the things that I previously stated. Competition. You can always do nothing, but nobody likes that. Stinks to be left out. The grocery store alternatives are lacking. If you buy box mix, you have to put in extra time, effort, ingredients, and nobody likes cleaning up after themselves, or at least I don't. The frozen options, you have to thaw them. Sometimes you can try and hack it in the microwave, and it's usually quite disappointing. And sometimes you'll get lucky at a coffee shop or a local bakery that might have a token offering, but there's often a large risk of cross-contamination. This is what my financing looks like. And I want to thank everyone for your time. And I am looking for some funding for my brick and mortar years and or my cottage food laws years or skipping straight to brick and mortar.
Very nice, and it's actually very delicious.
Thank you.
So, which for me just begs the question. You're a terrific baker.
Thank you.
You have a vision for what can be. I don't see you as a brick and mortar type expert on this. And I'm curious if the strength that you have is in your intellectual capital of making gluten-free taste good, why would you detract from that and put your time and energy into a brick and mortar? There are other people who want to do that better than you do, but they can't make gluten-free taste good like you can. You think there's a way to perhaps play to your strengths without trying to fix your weakness?
I appreciate that question. I've wrestled with that a lot. I have had some people suggest selling my recipes, and I'm not interested in that, is the short answer. I love baking. I've been baking since I was 3. It brings me happiness, and I love sharing food with people. It's one of my love languages. Brick and mortar, that's where I'm inclined to go because I currently don't have the kind of place of what you're eating right now that I can walk into. So I have to make it myself. So it's kind of a pain point because if that place existed, I would go there. In fact, I've driven 25 miles across town, pay $8.50 for a slice of cake. That's pretty good, but I still don't love, but it's better than nothing. There will be a learning curve for the brick and mortar part. I would definitely, anxiety. I would build my team to help offset those weaknesses on my part. I have considered potentially trying to find a partner. It makes me anxious. Panera has been suggested because of their scale, and I love they have so many locations. It could be everywhere, but I want to maintain that 100% gluten-free, no risk of cross-contamination, because that is just a huge burden as a consumer. So I'm trying to find the middle ground. I'm open to lots of things, but this is the plan as of today.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Grace.
Hi, MJ.
I love the fact you're keeping your cost structure low. I mean, that's really important to get out of the gate and establish yourself and get going. Your plans to scale.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that is really where, how are you going to expand beyond where your base is going to be, your local area in which you set up your kitchen and then eventually your brick and mortar setup? How are you going to do that scaling? Because there's shipping, preservatives, partnerships. What are your thoughts as you're moving forward with this?
I appreciate that question. I don't have it all flushed out yet. A lot of it is still very idealistic. As of today, I would like to keep my business in a way where I don't ever have to use preservatives. I would like to stay away from them. Most consumers tend to not want them. I want it fresh. I want it like your mom or your grandma or someone you love would have baked for you. So that does inherently present challenges with shipping. I may be open to that further down the road. I could potentially explore shipping some of my menu and not others. I would need to do more research in that arena. But I would also have to freeze my product, ensure that it stays frozen in that shipping and that I'm satisfied with the quality of it once it thaws. But if I were to go that route, my customers would be limited, and I don't want to limit them because they're already so limited. Thank you.
Is that brick and mortar idea, is that a partial retail location as well, local retail location, or is that purely production?
It would have a retail aspect to it.
Okay. Is there a rationale on why you would avoid those expenses and just go right to e-commerce?
Why I would go skip the cottage food laws years? It would be if the funding were to appear, honestly. It's been suggested that the 2 years of cottage food, that I might need to transition sooner than those 2 years. So that's kind of optimistically planning for that.
You've got a box with 6 or 7 wonderful items. How
Thank you.
big is your repertoire? I mean, how many recipes do you have that you've designed and put together?
My menu has about 20 items right now.
Okay. And is it all based on the sweets and things, or are there some other things that?
Sweets are my strength, but I know everyone loves a good savory item too. So my savory items aren't quite perfected, but I'm working on them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grace.
Thank you.
Next, we'd like to introduce Daniel Leahy with Breeze Sweep, representing Central Michigan University. Daniel, would you like this up?
Hi, my name is Daniel Leahy, and we are Breeze Sweep. Conventional energy hurts the environment. I don't expect that's news to any of you. But also, buying power from the grid can be really expensive. The average annual power bill in Michigan is $1,200. Solar is a clean option, but it's really expensive. It costs at least $10,000 to $20,000 to install, and it takes 10 to 20 years to pay for itself. Breeze Sweep is a small wind turbine that goes on your roof and powers your house. It pays for itself in less than 2 years, and it's safe for the environment. That means it's made of recycled materials and it's safe for wildlife. So our advantage in this market is our technology. It's our intellectual property, right? So we've filed for a provisional patent that covers 2 inventions. First is our overspeed protection. Most vertical axis wind turbines will spin too fast and break if the wind blows too fast, but Breeze Sweep will automatically become less aerodynamic and slow down in dangerous winds. We also have an improved blade design that is 70% more efficient than the competition. The wind energy market is a $41 billion market, but it's really only producing 9% of the nation's electricity right now. That's projected to increase to 35% over the next 30 years. Breeze Sweep is going to start in the small wind turbine market, which is a $277 million market, but we're going to expand into other areas of the wind energy market over time. In order to keep our startup costs low, we're going to outsource manufacturing when we start. Our target customers are rural middle-class homeowners who are going to be making between $50,000 and $750,000. And we actually already have 25 customers. We just got 25 customers who have said they will buy our product as soon as we're ready to ship. We also want to sell to small business owners and medium business owners, but we haven't sold any there yet. We're going to do our distribution through online sales and delivery by shipping. Installation is going to be done by a third party, which would be your local electrician. In order to make it as easy as possible for our customers to switch to Breeze Sweep, we are talking to different credit organizations so that you won't have to pay anything up front to get Breeze Sweep. You'll just pay each month what you save by producing your own energy. So how do we compare to our competition? Well, because our turbines are so much more efficient than the competition, we can make smaller turbines that don't cost as much to manufacture that still produce more energy in less wind than our competitors. So it only costs $807 to buy a turbine. And that's not including the fact that you get a 30% federal tax credit for the cost of buying it and installing it. Our cost per unit is $686. That covers cost of materials, cost of manufacturing, and other administrative costs, such as marketing. And if we sell it at $807 per unit, that gives us a 17% profit margin. And you can see that we aren't projecting that we're going to sell, we're not requiring that we're going to sell, thousands of units right out of the gate. We can just sell just like 200 our first year and 900 and continue scaling up. So it's pretty manageable. My name is Daniel Leahy. I'm a junior studying mechanical engineering, and I'm also working on my accelerated Master's of Entrepreneurial Ventures. And Alec Riley is a senior studying mechanical engineering. So what's next? Well, we filed for a provisional patent, but we need eventually to get an international patent, which can be quite expensive. We also are going to need to pay for marketing and to start producing our product. We're talking to an angel investor who said he will invest once we have a marketing plan and once we have actually made an aesthetic version of our prototype. We have a working prototype. We need it to look nice, which means we'll need to be able to pay for our molds. So we need funding for that. And we're hoping to bring somebody onto our team with a little bit of marketing experience as well. At Breeze Sweep, we're looking for the most innovative team members, knowledgeable investors, and customers who are willing to challenge the status quo. So where do you fit in our story? Thank you.
I think it's a great idea. What I really like about your idea actually has nothing to do with the technology. It's the fact that you're working with credit organizations to finance this thing as they go along, which removes all the barriers to entry for the consumer to actually buy your product. I'm assuming you came up with that idea, and I think that's genius. So kudos to you for that one. That's solar is a big deal. You mentioned there's a lot of upfront costs, which just prevents people from getting into the market at all. And by you taking that barrier away, I think you've really paved your way for a nice long runway here. So kudos to you on that.
Thank you very much.
Hey, great job. I want one. But my question is, what is the minimum wind speed to start to generate electricity?
So according to testing our prototype, we've gotten it like spinning and generating electricity in about 0.5 mile per hour of wind, compared to our competitors who need like 5 miles per hour wind. So it's actually that the really slow wind speeds that we outshine our competition because of our superior blade design.
Question on your manufacturing, because I can see where you would want something that's a little better looking.
I agree.
But one of the things, and I love the idea, I think it's a great idea, but how do you get so specific in your costs, but you haven't really done the manufacturing pricing of your final product? So tell us a little bit more there.
We're already talking to manufacturers. So we have one manufacturer, Vantage Plastics, who's going to cover the actual blades themselves and a lot of the housing. And then we have another manufacturer, North Tech Innovations, who's going to make all of the metal components and all the rest of it. So currently, our model is we aren't going to do the final assembly. If we end up getting a company to do the final assembly, our price is going to go up.
Thank you.
The question I have for you, and it's a very innovative, nice product. Number one, is it producing DC power, I assume, or AC power?
Yeah, so it would be producing alternating current.
Okay. And so being in the construction business, I'm going to hire an electrician to install it. I'm probably going to spend about double what I just paid for your unit to get it installed. What's the barrier there? The $800 sounds enticing to me, but when I hire an electrician for $1,000 to install it, that's a little scary.
Yeah, so most of your cost actually is the upfront cost. That's considered in the fact that it pays for itself in under 2 years and getting that financing. The $807, that pays for itself in like 4 months. It's your installation that you're paying for the rest of those 2 years.
So you've already wrapped that into your plan? Okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
In your prototype or in your solution, how are you handling energy storage?
I love that question. So we're going to recommend to our customers what's called a grid tie system. So you don't need a battery bank. You just pay back any power you don't use. You sell it back to the power company. And then when the wind doesn't blow, you just automatically buy it back. And it'll all kind of balance itself out close to $0, or they might actually be paying you if you get like 2 of our units. Also, if you want batteries, you can totally do batteries. There's nothing stopping you.
Thank you.
And we'll probably actually be selling batteries as well, so that people have that option.
What's been the objection to the aesthetics, putting one of these on your roof?
Well, some people don't like the way it looks. They don't like the 2x4.
Yeah. But once it's all dolled up and everything, you feel that you'll be able to overcome that with the average consumer?
Yeah, I think it's actually going to start looking like art by the time we're actually manufacturing it. There's different like lawn ornaments and stuff that actually look kind of similar to what our final design will be. So if people are paying money for a useless lawn ornament just because it looks nice, hopefully they'll be willing to put up with one in order to not pay the power bill.
Thank you.
20 seconds. Any other questions?
Will one of those units power my house if I'm a typical consumer, or do I need to buy two?
So we were recommending buying 2 units. It produces about 500 kilowatt hours a month, which is like 2/3 of what your house uses. So if you get 2, then your power company is paying you. If you just want to like test the water and just get 1, then it's going to be just like taking 2/3 of your power bill off. Thank you very much. If you want to buy one, you can email me, call me, or check out our website.
Thank you. Well, now that we've had everyone presented, we will take a 20-minute intermission and allow our judges to take some time to deliberate and make some tough decisions and hopefully select our winners. So please go grab a drink, meet some new people. We hope you can connect and collaborate. And if you're watching online, please enjoy this video from Michigan Creative Coast, and we'll see you guys back in about 20 minutes, okay? Thank you.
And then we started creating our own software to facilitate. TCNewTech, Scene 1A, Take 1. I started Sample Serve back in 2001, and we were a company that specialized in sampling. And then we started creating our own software to facilitate the sampling. So I needed to find people who were, doing code in Traverse City. I was literally at the dog park. I started talking to somebody and asked them, like, so what do you do? And they're like, well, I write software. And, I'm like, really, where do you work? And they're like, well, I work out of my house. I thought, oh, very interesting. Again, the next day, different person, different dog, and asked the same question to somebody I was talking to. What do you do? And they're like, well, I write software and I work out of my house. And I'm like, I think there might be a bigger tech community in Traverse City. There were tech, but they just weren't connecting with one another. And so there had to be some kind of a way for people to, show up at the same place at the same time. So we started TCNewTech in Traverse City, and everyone got together. The concept is every month you have 5 businesses. They get 5 minutes to pitch their idea or concept, and then 5 minutes of Q&A, and they just get up back to back. Pitching is of value, but the connecting afterwards of all like-minded people was the real value. It did require a lot of time and effort to pull things off, but it wasn't difficult because the demand seemed to be there. The people in the community, once they found out about it, they showed up. The first meeting was probably, 40, 50 people, and then it just kept growing every time. People that showed up the month before would show up again, and they'd bring a friend. We literally couldn't get any more people. We ran out of chairs. People would stand along the back wall, and that's when we knew, like, we got to find a bigger venue. So if you're going to pitch at TCNewTech, you don't have to be just from Traverse City, but you want to be generally from northern Michigan, northwest Michigan, although there have been people that pitched as far as Cleveland. Some people would be like, well, I can't go to this thing because it's for tech people. It's too techy. I wouldn't understand. The reality is it's not too techy. Anybody can show up. They can understand what's going on because it's just business. So if you're interested in technology at all, I would encourage you to show up. I guarantee it'll be worth your while. Looking forward to seeing you.
Waiting by the landline, Adjusted yourself to the rising sun and to me all the things I could have done. Found your true location, darling. With this old map, we found our way back. Whoa, to the back, sure, circle our way back.
I would honestly say that the people is maybe one of the most underrated, or something that you wouldn't think of when moving back to either a small town or a rural environment. The demographics here are extraordinarily different than San Francisco, but we've managed to find amazing people who are super cool, and we share a lot of either hobbies or other things in common with that have made living here pretty awesome.
Y'all, can you tell I'm like shivering?
Are you?
No, I can't. Okay, I keep like. Okay.
You can start.
Great. I'm Kristen Burlacher, and I work for Airbnb, actually, based out of San Francisco, and I oversee their humanitarian team.
And my name's Keenan May. I'm trained as an architect and do a little bit of architecture, but I work also in a tech company who is, we used to be based out of San Francisco, but now we're based out of Nevada.
Yeah, we have a daughter who's coming up on 2 years old, and so we spent my maternity leave here, which was a great kind of test of the waters, and then after that just made the move and decided this was where we wanted to be, and it's been incredible.
We're, I think, a little skeptical on the schools here and the resources available here for raising her, for helping raise her. But I think we're pretty excited about what we found so far. There are amazing schools and there are amazing families that we share time with. And to be able to live in an environment like this where we get out all the time, every day with her is, I think, second to none.
Yeah.
The winter in northern Michigan wasn't necessarily any kind of roadblock. It was almost a little bit refreshing because with winter comes fall and spring. And coming from a location where we otherwise didn't see any seasonality, it was a wonderful change. Like to have that dynamism throughout the year, everything from the trees to the snow to the the water changing, is welcoming us, I think. But
don't get me wrong, winter is brutal.
Yeah.
And you figure out ways to enjoy it. But I think that's the point. You have to figure out ways to enjoy it and get outside.
I think just to point out the obvious too, like Michigan is very different than the West Coast. It's very different than the East Coast. It's different from a scalar perspective, right? The mountains are smaller, they're mostly hills. The waves are maybe smaller, they're completely different. There are all of these kind of differences in scale, but they all make up for themselves in just completely new opportunities or new ways of looking at things. So I think it's those kind of either dichotomies or that dynamism that makes it so interesting and enjoyable.
When your son is 3 and within a time of a year you get like almost a month worth of hours back with him physically, it really kind of lands the fact of, you know, balance and time with family is important. And you don't realize what you sacrifice when you do take on a location with a commute to go places.
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, what is it again? Just name?
Name and occupation, yeah.
Okay. My name is Sarah Diaz-Pinel, and I am VP of Sales and Business Development at a startup in LA.
My name is Kyle Pinnell, and I own my own design consultant firm called Pen and Pad.
So we spent most of our career in California, and we loved it. It's such a great place, like, to grow up professionally in our career, but decided we love Michigan. We love Traverse City, that we can actually afford a house here and actually have a backyard. And we grew up like riding our bikes around the neighborhood. Like, I would just leave my house and not come home for hours. You can't do that in LA. And so we wanted our kids to have that opportunity to kind of, you know, small community feel, and just, you know, have a house that they can live in. And yeah, to me, that was the most important part.
For me, what's super underrated in Grand Traverse is access. When I say access, I mean access to the airport, access to water, access to parks and trails and sunset vantage points. There's so much here, and it's all accessible. We spoke earlier about, you know, distance of car rides and commuting, and what's really almost an ongoing nice surprise is just how close things are in regards to weekday and weekend adventures.
That's an awesome answer. I couldn't agree more.
So I had no idea they were surfing in Michigan. I was doing a lot of research on the surf culture out here and sending him all these pictures and waves and like, look, you can still surf, you can do what you love. We'll just get you a nice thick wetsuit and you'll be good to go.
All right, name and what?
Name and occupation.
Okay.
All right.
So my name's Haley, and I'm a food and farming policy associate at the Groundwork Center, which is a local nonprofit here in Traverse City. And I also make earrings.
Hi, my name is Sam Bennett. I'm the CEO and founder of Swell Minded, my global consultancy that I build brands and partnerships that are prioritizing people and the planet.
As we were looking at places to move, one of the options was, do you want to move to California? That's where Sam spent a lot of time and his family's from. We really wanted to move to a place that was new for both of us. So Traverse City was a really exciting option where we can both start fresh.
And as we got caught in that grass is greener on the other side, because everywhere's got its pluses and minuses, for us it came down to the lifestyle that we want to live, the type of work we wanted to have, our daily routines that we wanted to have. You know, for us it was outdoors, community, fresh air, enough of a city and a town to plug into for our night out on the town, and some really good food and restaurants. Yeah, so once we made our decision to move to Michigan, everyone back in Hawaii thought that we were crazy. But of course they hadn't been to Michigan before.
Well, one thing that really drew me to this area was the local food system and just the abundance of restaurants, farms, and that's been so fun. That's one thing, we didn't have as many options on the Big Island, so that's been amazing. And that's kind of what allowed us to kind of create our friend group, was a passion for local food, the outdoors, and all the same things that brought us here.
So currently most of my clients for Soul Minded are on the West Coast, and so yeah, it's really nice to have my mornings nice and free and
Yeah.
kind of check in mid-morning, get ready for everyone on the West Coast to turn on around midday here and start the workday.
Awesome.
You know, I knew Lake Michigan was beautiful, but when you see it up here, it's just a whole new world. I mean, the colors, it looks just like Hawaii in a lot of ways. I mean, the water is so blue. It surprised me how much I missed the seasons when I didn't have them. Because oftentimes if you're from Michigan, you're itching to go out and explore. And I think leaving and coming back was one of the best things I could have done because it put things into a new perspective, and I have a new appreciation for Michigan. And I feel so lucky to call Traverse City home.
Heck yeah.
So you get to vote for your favorite startup. By MSU Federal Credit Union. You have just 2 minutes to text your code to your favorite startup, and this is going to be the number on the screen, and the voting is going to open now as soon as Jen gets this to the screen. Oh, this is new. This was tunnel vision.
Now it's open.
All right, there we go. Does anybody need a recap real quick? All right. Which one? Oh, we have 8. So 1, 2.
Oh, okay.
Nope, there's 8. Wait, 1, 2. Oh, yeah, sorry. I apologize. There we go. Can we do it? I think you're good if you put bamboo up. Okay. There you go.
How did I go full screen?
All right, so while we're voting, we're going to give a round of applause to Sam Augusta for joining us tonight with Cool Porter for the great music in the lobby tonight. Thank you, guys. As a business consultant for Michigan's Small Business Development Center, we also have Sam to thank sponsoring the refreshments at Bruce. So thank you, Sam. Let me do this one too. Okay. So each of the participants will be receiving a copy of the book, The Startup or Student Startup Guide by Courtney Gross. This is the first book written by student founded for student founders. We are grateful for Courtney's contribution and her generosity. Her book has not only been out for a month. If you'd like a copy, please scan the QR code or find it on Amazon. There are little flyers floating around, or there's some at the bar. If you need one, I'm sure we can connect with Jen and get you one too.
1 second left.
All right, did everybody vote? Okay.
Safe
So,
row.
congratulations to Safe Row. Yes. So, would you like to come up for Safe Row and join us? I apologize, Bailey. There you are. Okay. Yes. Bailey, this is your very small version of our big check. We'll let you take the stage. Did you want me to take it? Great. Yeah, we'll do another photo up later with that. So, well, good job. Thank you, Bailey. We're doing this first. So I'd like to bring up Jay Meldrum to the stage. He has something he'd like to share with you about these special trophies. Thank you, Jay.
So first, the dog ate my homework, but I'll try to get through this. I'd like to make a correction. At the beginning, they said that Jay designed and manufactured the awards for tonight. That's far from the truth. The awards for the TCNewTech University Idea Showcase were designed by Olivia Rockwood. Hey, Olivia. She's a graduate of TC Central and the MTA program at the ISD Career Tech Center. After attending the first year at Michigan Tech, so she's a Michigan Tech alumni, by the way, she excelled in her sustainability class, which I taught, and found her true love and talent in the arts with a technical twist. Returning to Traverse City during the COVID shutdown, she earned an associate's degree from Northwestern Michigan College just last weekend. Yay! She was recently accepted to the College of Creative Studies in Detroit, Michigan. If you don't know about that, that's a pretty good deal. And she'll start there in the fall. She's currently working for Michigan Tech Grand Traverse area office, employee number 1 for me. And we'll be working on some other STEM and STEAM projects to be announced later this summer. One of her creations was the cloud storm that was on display at the Dennis Museum recently. And in the past, she's won awards, particularly for her metal work at the Dennis Museum. She's particularly inspired by combining art with the flair of technology, which you see in front of you here. So I'm really proud to work with her, and I'm really proud that we're not handing out bowling trophies. And Olivia told me, can we go buy the bowling trophies? Because I want to keep these. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Olivia. So next I want to introduce Steve Rice of NMC and also Will Kitchens from Wayona State University to share the judges' results and the winners of the first annual TCNewTech University Idea Showcase. And I hand the stage over to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I'm here in case there's technical.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say thanks to all of you who came out, and you guys, all the students. When I was 19 or 20 or 21, I was not thinking about the kind of things you're thinking about. So whether you win the award or not tonight, you've done great work. Love the creativity. I love how many of your passions are born out of your pains, and I could see that in your presentation. So it was just great. We've got 3 awards: 3rd place, 2nd place, and 1st place, and we have 3 different schools. So a great cross representation. 3rd place goes to CMU Breeze Sweep. That's a $500 award.
Want me to bring it down there?
Yeah, let's, Daniel, can you head down there?
Take care of stuff though.
Yeah.
I'll help you. I'll be sure.
Keep going. Second place award goes to Michigan Tech. Jay. Goes to SafeRow. And that's a $1,000 award. Congratulations. And finally, 1st place goes to, anybody want to guess? Goes to Michigan State. It goes to Capnos. And accepting the award on behalf of is
Is there a Michigan State representative?
Is there a Michigan State person here who wants to get up? Here comes MSU. There we go. I think his name was Brandon or Brandon? Brendan, there we go. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Hi, John. I was so happy to see you run up there. Hi, can you hear me? Thanks, everyone.
Well, congratulations to you all again, and hopefully this is the first of many years of annual events where you'll see this kinds of pitch competition. Share it with your friends, people you know at school, uprising high school students, anybody who's got creativity that they want to birth and bring into motion. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Jennifer.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I appreciate it, you being here. And I really appreciate the technical help that I got from our usual videographer, Josh Paul with AK Productions, who is here but working remotely. And in person, in his place, is Chris Nesbitt. from ACE Virtual Events, and they did a smashing job getting us connected online and bringing our winner on, which is awesome. So I really appreciate those guys. And Joe Bears, I should shout out to Joe. He works here at City Opera House. Every month he does a fabulous job for us with the sound. So as you know, tomorrow is Newton's Road, and Northwestern Michigan College are hosting a pitch competition for local students right here, same place. And also kicking off on Friday is Techstar Startup Weekend, which is open for anyone with an idea or business concept they want to dig into and learn how to make it a reality. So you can find more information about all these events on our website. And if you'd like to get your own Northern Michigan Startup Week swag, we have t-shirts available for sale in the lobby. And remember that TCNewTech hosts a pitch event right here the first Tuesday of every month. Thank you all for coming.